had to work on my communication skills, I guess. Either that or Nia's just like, she's a little tired. We're walking to work and I was doing one of those videos we do in the morning, walking to our work and shit. And I brought up how they're trying to do the PSYOP, the blue beam PSYOP. So recently, her and I were walking to our work at like in the morning, and there was behind the mountains there were these clouds that looked like, they looked like it might have been, they looked almost mountain-esque, but they clearly weren't. They were just thick clouds, like a fog. I took some pictures of it, and I think we were doing a video as it happened. Yeah, 'cause I remember freaking out about it. But it wasn't the blue beam thing I saw, right? So this morning, we're walking to our work, and I'm like, yeah, honey, I want to talk about the mountains in the sky we saw, referring to the blue beam thing we saw like 2 years ago. So she thought that I was talking about, I don't know, I fucking have no idea why. She thought I was talking about the clouds that we saw recently. So it was like the craziest 10 minutes of me thinking that she was some kind of CIA handler. Or like they got to her or something. It was a kind of a spooky 10 minutes before I figured this all out. I dropped it because I was like, what the fuck is happening, And I only thought about it after I left her at work. I sent her a text like, no, I'm talking about the mountains that we saw years ago. She's like, oh, I thought you meant the clouds from the other day. It's not easy sometimes. It's not easy being a schizo. So it's like my idea for this morning was I was going to talk about, because she was with me when we saw the mountains in the sky, the thing that I believe was a blue beam test. I'm almost dead ball certain, because what else the fuck would it be, And she was there for it, and I figured, oh, I got her here this morning, perfect time. We'll talk about it. She can give her perspective on it. So I asked her, and she's thinking I'm talking about the little clouds that were in the sky the other day. So I'm like, yeah, so, what did it look like to you? And she's like, I don't know, it just kind of looked like fog. And I'm like, what? And she was like, yeah, it just kind of looked like fog. I'm like, the mountains in the sky? And she was like, no, it just kind of looked like fog or something, or a cloud. So now I'm thinking, they got her or something. Like there's a body snatcher situation happening here. She's my handler, I guess. She's my schizo CIA handler, because she's like, I thought she was pretending or just not knowing that we saw the blue beam thing a couple years ago, because we both saw it. And even about the time, I was like, yeah, we were leaving for your work, remember? And it was still light out, and she thought I was talking about the stupid clouds from last week. So she was like, yeah, it was just starting to get light. And I'm like, no, it was dinner time. It was when you work in third shift. And it's hilarious, because it's like, it looked like I was just telling this insane story, and she like debunked my whole fucking thing. So I'm like, yeah, I don't really care about that. That's a separate issue. But I was like, what happened to her brain? Like, how can she be saying this? I was like, so there was a lot of silence there. And I was like, are you sure? They look like clouds to you? Those are mountains in the sky, like big green mountains. She's like, I don't know, it just kind of looked like fog, right? So I'm like kind of flipping out in my mind. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What, you know what I mean? Like they got to her, and I'm thinking, has she always been controlled? Has she always? I said that to her jokingly too. I'm like, are you like my CIA handler? And she's like, yeah, for like, what, 15, 16 years? That's what I've been doing, right? It was fucking crazy. I thought I was losing my mind. And then finally, when I left her at work, I put together what had happened. Funny shit, man. Funny shit. So as I'm sitting there debating, like, I dropped off at work, and usually when we do those videos in the morning where I walk her to work, I'll usually leave her off and then I continue about something else, you know. But I was just so like freaked out. I didn't know what to say. I'm just like, what the fuck just happened there? You know, she just denied ever seeing any of that stuff. Told me it was clouds and never thinking, because who the fuck would be talking about the fucking clouds we saw last week? And she's like, didn't you take pictures of it? I'm like, yeah, but remember I lost them through social media? Do you remember when I was freaking out about that? And she's like, in her mind, I'm talking about something completely different. It was funny. This is funny here. They always crank the. They always get the. A lot of these guys have their sirens cranking, but then they get to a light and they stop. It's like, oh, whatever. He wasn't going very fast. But I'm not saying that wasn't a real call. I'd almost be certain it is, because you hear it all day long now. I mean, it is a city, so you do hear it, but these days you hear it all day long. Scooping up bodies from people that were telling me to put it over my nose. For your health, man. I'm looking out for you. Put it over your nose. I'm sad they're dead. I feel bad. I mean, you know, I don't. No one wants anyone to die. Robot or not, the robots don't deserve this shit. They're just a pawn in the game. They're actually more like a real pawn than metaphorical pawns. They're actually like game pieces in this thing. But you know, they look sort of human, so I still feel bad for them. But yeah, they're just fucking nodding out. They're just kibbying out. They're dropping like flies, like Paul Romano says. They are too. Like the die-off in Germany. Holy shit! Was like 40% now. Don't know why. No one knows why. Right? It's just a big mystery. It's hard to feel sympathy for people like that, you know. Of course, you know, aside from there is cognitive dissonance going on where they just don't want to even admit to themselves what they've done to themselves and loved ones, you know. It's got to be hellish, even if you have no feelings or a soul or anything. It's still got to bother you on some level. You know, their idea, the plan, right, was to get people to freak out and, you know, overthrow the government, overthrow their governments locally, cause more chaos. But I don't think the people have it in them. It's not even the people. It comes down to men, right? It comes down to men. Dudes are like fucking the ones that would be able to do something. They've sapped their will to live. They overcooked them too much. Too much fluoride. Too much despair propaganda. Too much. You know, they wanted them weak, right? But now they need them to do something. And no one has the backbone to do anything like that. I mean, come on, you know? They have to stop playing video games for a minute. Oh, God, I'm actually so glad I quit. It's been like 2 months since I've touched anything, and I'm never going back. In fact, it's like, I look at that time now the same way I look at the time, like when I was drinking or on drugs or something. It's like, what the fuck was I doing? And I was in, like, for years and years, I was, you know, I had all the the systems and the computer stuff, and it's like I was always playing some game since I had what is it, Atari 5200? Not the last one they made. Or was it the last one? The most expensive one. We got it when it first came out. It was like 83 or something. And by the time it came out, like they canned the whole project like not too long after it. So there wasn't like a lot of games for it or anything. But shit, man, I remember playing some kind of wizard game, listening to Peace of Mind in my basement with my friends, and thinking, wow, this music goes so good with this game. Yeah. But since then, yeah, I've always been in. I've had my hand in something. And you know, in the 2000s, early 2000s, EverQuest, you know, EverQuest 2, Star Wars Galaxies. You know, my friends would call them nerd games. You know, I had friends that were like, any game you play where you're this guy and you're doing math is not a real video game. But that's all I would just play those kind of games. I mean, I'd do other ones too, but the ones I really got into were those. And then like what, 2012 or so, the mobile bug kind of hit me. And I've been just fucking always playing something, right? Like I'll change them out. The last thing I was playing was the Iron Maiden game, which was like my second time going through that. And I'm like, you know, doing microtransactions fucking left and right. Yeah, I got 20 bucks in my pocket. I'm like, yeah, I can spend it, who cares? I'll waste it on coffee anyway, or something stupid, so I might as well. And I was in. That was a crazier addiction than probably almost anything I could think of. It's worse than drugs because it's so insidious. You don't think you're doing anything destructive to yourself, you know? So you're like, hey, and I used to say that too. I'm like, well, at least I'm not spending it on booze or drugs or something. I'm spending it on fucking a new backpack. I can hold 6 potions with this one. The other one only holds 5. $25, that's a steal. You know, the kind of things you tell yourself, right? But the thing that got me off it was all the satanic shit. They all have some kind of imagery in them. And I did a thing about starting up the games. Like when you start one of those mobile games, there'll be screens showing like, there'll be a certain image, or they'll always say like loading. And next to the loading, they'll have like a number loading, you know, 12% or whatever percent. And the numbers, right, are part of a spell. You know, every spells are done with components, like spell components, just like anything else. Just like the witch has the ear and newt and the fucking bat swing. It's done the same way with numbers and, you know, whatever they do to make the spell. So it was like when you load up one of those games, the images it's showing you and the numbers involved and like the loading screens and stuff all go to create that spell. I'm going to walk in the house, so I'll go this way. So yeah, so you're trying to break out of a spell, basically. I did a few things on it where I show the images for different stuff and what they tie into. That guy on the that one game I was playing that had the Podesta. Hey, was that Balser? How you doing? Good little doggy. How you doing? Nice to see you. Have a good day, guys. So, yeah, I pulled myself out of it with that, and a priest was talking about it. It's just like a little YouTube clip video where he's talking about how video games steal your energy from you. And I knew that, right? In fact, they did a video about it, explaining how it does that. But, like, it took me watching this guy talk about it. I'm like, you know, he's right. I gotta stop that. So I just unloaded, what do you call it? Took it off my phone. Uninstalled, thank you. So I uninstalled from my phone, that was it. Go in the elevator, you might not be able to follow me, so don't blame the teacher, blame the school.